So why don't we get started? Thanks to everyone for joining the Needham and Wellesley Democratic Town Committee's Norfolk County Candidate Forums. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Michael Diener. I'm the chair of the Needham Democratic Town Committee. We also have present Susan Ryan, the co-chair of the Wellesley Democratic Town Committee. I'll be moderating the forum with assistance from co-hosts from the Needham Committee, Kathy Jakes, Susan Welby, and Evan Roush. We're conducting the forum in a Zoom meeting style, so we ask that everyone remain on mute except for the person who's speaking at the time. It is possible that we could have, I suggest you use the speaker view and not the gallery view so you have a better view of who's speaking. It's possible we could have technical issues, and of course those are outside the, maybe outside the control of the candidates or of the town committee itself. Tonight we'll hear candidates for County Commissioner, Norfolk County Treasurer, and the Register of Probate in that order. We do not have candidates for the Norfolk County Sheriff's race tonight, but the local League of Women Voter groups held a forum not too long ago. And if you go to the Needham League of Women Voter website, you can find a link to that recording. It's also on YouTube, so if you plug in some of the keywords like Norfolk County Sheriff and LWV, you should find it. I tested it out. You should find it fairly easily. I'll provide a brief introduction about Norfolk County and about each of the offices before we hear from the candidates, because some of these offices may not be as familiar to people as some others. The format for the evening has been shared with all the candidates in advance and will be as follows. The candidates will have a 90-second opening statement. There'll be 1 minute for any responses to any questions, and they'll all have a chance to respond to the same questions. And then there'll be a 1 minute closing to give a chance to reinforce or respond or however they choose to use their time. I've actually prepared a set of questions in advance for this, but none of those questions have been shared with the candidates. Because of the number of candidates we have tonight, I request that the candidates hold to their times. So when I'm going to have my phone set on a fairly loud basis to go off, and when we call time, I just would ask you to please wrap up immediately what your point is. Let me just start with a little, just very briefly, and some basics on Norfolk County. Norfolk County consists of 28 cities and towns with a population of about 700,000 people. Needham and Wellesley combined are about 8 to 9% of that population, and based on history, I expect that the two communities combined will cast somewhere around 10 to 11% of the votes, or maybe a little more. There are several state government offices that are not part of the county government, but where officers are elected by the voters of Norfolk County as a district. These include the Norfolk County Sheriff, Norfolk County Register of Probate, both of whom are on the ballot this year, the Norfolk County District Attorney, who will be on the ballot in 2022. Again, these are state offices. The Norfolk County government includes the County Commissioner's Office, the Registry of Deeds and Land Court, which is managed by an elected Register of Deeds, and that's currently Bill O'Donnell, who's been to our meetings a couple times in the past. There's operations and maintenance of county facilities, including 6 county-owned courthouses. The Norfolk County Agricultural High School, I'll mention a little bit more about that later, and other regional programs and services, including an engineering and survey department, veterans services, retired and senior volunteer programming, and operation of the President's Golf Course in the Squantum area of Quincy. So first we'll turn to the race for County Commissioner. There are 3 county commissioners who make up the executive board for Norfolk County government. They operate somewhat like a select board and are responsible for the county government operations. In addition to these operations, each of the 3 county commissioners is an ex officio member of the 7-member board of trustees of the Norfolk County Agricultural High School. That's a 550 student vocational high school in Walpole, which is one of the few in Massachusetts that includes dedicated agricultural programs. I'm not sure about Wellesley, but I did check with some people from Needham, and we typically have at any given time one to two students, and this year, upcoming, there will be at least a ninth grader and a 10th grader from Needham at that school in Walpole. Two commissioners are elected in presidential election years like this one, and one is elected in the governor's election year. This year, there are 4 Democratic candidates running for 2 seats. Mr. Shea, who we'll hear from first, is an incumbent. No Republicans have qualified, although I did see a news story that indicated there may be an independent candidate on the ballot in November. The order of speakers was chosen randomly by my wife. For opening statements, the order will be Joe Shea, Dennis Guilfoyle, Charlie Ryan, and Richard Stady in that order, but then I'm going to rotate the order through each question. So whoever had to go first gets to go last in the next round. So with that, let's go to the opening statements. And as I indicated, it's a 90-second opening, and we start with Mr. Joe Shea.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. And thanks to Mike Diener and Susan Ryan for help put this program together. It's great to be among friends and Democrats. I'm Joe Shea. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Quincy, and I served as Quincy City Clerk for 25 years. I might add that I've been a member of the Quincy Democratic Committee since 1968. And I'm running for re-election as your Norfolk County Commissioner. As a County Commissioner for the past 5 years, I've been leading an effort to modernize Norfolk County's government into a more cost-effective, inclusive, and transparent regional entity that provides real value to Norfolk County residents, families, and communities. We know that Norfolk County government of 2020 is not the county government of the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s. We face new challenges, and it's clear that our county government must continue to adapt and respond. We're prioritizing capital investments in county buildings and infrastructure. We're implementing a solar program at the Aggie School. We're prioritizing the upkeep of our 6 courthouses, and we've invested in the Registry of Deeds and administrative offices. And we're continuing to work with the Massachusetts School Building Authority about bringing the Aggie School further into the 21st century. We have a tremendous opportunity in Norfolk County to promote regional services between our cities and towns. 2 years ago, I helped lead a public health initiative where 3 towns are serving and sharing a nurse. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Dennis Guilfoyle.
How are you, everyone? Thank you for having me. Michael and Mrs. Ryan, thank you. I'm Dennis Guilfoyle. I'm a lifelong resident of Dedham, Massachusetts. I first got elected to town meeting back when I was 18 years old. Since then, I became Parks and Rec Commissioner. I also have been the last 6 years on the Board of Selectmen, just getting off after COVID-19 kept me on for an extra 4 months as the chair. I was a 20-year correction officer. I retired as a correction officer in Suffolk County. I've moved on. I'm the legislative advisor to Sheriff Steve Tompkins on union and labor affairs. I've been in the State House for many years. Out of my 20 years as an officer, 19 of them I was either elected to the union or appointed to the union. I started a neighborhood association group back in 1998 where we built the first privately funded playground in the town of Dedham. And then I moved on to I was also a register of voters for 9 years in the town of Dedham. I also am big in the Sons of the American Legion. I was past commander 3 times. I was the state district commander. I also have many other organizations I do deal with in the town of Dedham. I'm a lifelong resident, as I said, of the community. I've been able to try to help a lot of friends and families in the town of Dedham, which I feel that I can bring that asset right to the county and work throughout the whole county. A big part of my thing you'll hear is I think.
Okay, time.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Ryan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles Ryan, and I'm a candidate for Norfolk County Commissioner. I'd like to thank you for inviting me here tonight to have the opportunity to speak with you folks. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a Braintree Town Councilor at large. I've been on the Town Council for the last 13 years. Before that, I was a selectman in Braintree for 4 years, and I started off as a Water and Sewer Commissioner on the town of Braintree. I have been on the Norfolk County Advisory Board representing Braintree for the past 16 years. So I have really good knowledge of the county government. The advisory board is the legislative body for Norfolk County. A little bit more about me. I have my engineering degree from Massachusetts Maritime Academy. I have an MBA from the University of Massachusetts, Boston. I've worked at the MWRA for the past 33 years. I'm the director of operations and maintenance, where I'm in charge of over a staff of 200 employees. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I've been on the Democratic Town Committee in Braintree for 20 years. I've been endorsed by the Norfolk County Central Labor Council. I'm a single parent of 2 young boys that live with me, 2 young men. My son Matthew has Asperger's. I've been involved with the Special Education Parents Advisory Committee in my town, and I appreciate you inviting me here tonight, and I'd ask for your consideration on September 1st. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Actually, Kathy, why don't we just wait till the next, after the next one? Okay, so final speaker for opening is Mr. Estady.
That's correct, Michael. You got it right. Hello, everybody. Thank you to Mike and Susan for putting this together, and to all the members. It's actually great to be back. I did attend before COVID your caucus, which was quite an event. I know Dan Matthews had a lot to do with it, and others as well. But it's great to be back and to see you all healthy. Very quickly, I have been involved in the Democratic Committee for a long time. I was past chairman of my local committee for over 5 years. I serve currently as the town moderator in Canton. Previous to that, I was a selectman for 9 years, past chairman, and also a member of the advisory board, serving with Mr. Matthews and others. I was past chairman of that board several times. I have been endorsed, and it's very special to me, by the Carpenters Union Local 346. Since my dad was a carpenter, it's kind of an extra special thing for me. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, sadly, the passing of John Manning this weekend. Very tragic and sudden passing. A wonderful man, a wonderful family man, and it's a great loss of labor in the social justice movement. I'm a graduate of Stonehill College. I also have a master's degree in education from Bridgewater State University and a Juris Doctor from Suffolk Law. I have 2 careers I've been very lucky to have. I was a teacher for many years at Canton High School, and also director of science and technology, which I think will help me in dealing with the issues at the Aggie School. And also now, of course, I'm a member of the Norfolk County Bar, practicing lawyer, full-time zoning attorney. There are many changes I'd like to see forward taking place in the county. I'm a big proponent of renewable sources and other things, and I'd like to talk more about that.
All right, thank you.
I'd appreciate your vote.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that confusing note when I started out before. Kathy, I think, are you going to do the timing?
Yes, I will, Michael. 2 minutes, is that correct?
The next round is the question, so it's going to be 1 minute per. Okay. So, so I have a couple of questions for each of the candidates. Same question for, there are 2 questions basically total, but we'll do them one at a time. And it's the same for all 4. For this one, it'll be Dennis, Charlie, Richard, Joe. Question is, what do you see as the key challenges for Norfolk County government over the next few years, and how are you positioned or experienced to address those challenges? Starting with Dennis.
Yep, thank you very much. Obviously, it's with COVID-19 going on, one of the biggest challenges are going to be the setback on the revenues that have not come in during this time. So that is going to probably be the most on the foremost of all communities. And it's something that has to be done and looked at. We're going to have to wait and see what the government's going to do, to what the supplements are going to be. We also, with the agricultural school, you're going to have to see what comes in for the Chapter 70 monies. And then we'll also have to see all the towns and communities that do give into the Aggie they're going to be running into hard times also. So I think what we have to do, as Mr. Shea said, the farm for the solar is going to be a huge help there. But it's just going to be the most difficult part of everything going on for all communities in Norfolk County is going to be the financial side. And we have a couple of different things that we can do, you know, I'm sorry.
That's time, Dennis. Thank you.
All right, this is going to go quick. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. 1 minute thing. Charlie? Yeah, same question about key challenges and your position in addressing those challenges.
Thank you. So the key challenges are for the county are the finances. And so I feel like I'm uniquely qualified because I've been on the Norfolk County Advisory Board, the Legislative Board for the past 16 years. I have a good understanding of the budget, the $31.9 million budget for this year. I do have an MBA, a Master's in Business Administration. At my job at the MWRA, I'm in charge of a multi-million-dollar budget. You know, you have revenues, you have expenses. If you can't handle the funding for all the expenses, we're going to have to look at cutting expenses if we don't have the revenues. So I think I'm qualified in that. For the courthouses, we need to have a 5-year capital plan for the courthouses that we update and we follow. And I have, in my job, I have experience overseeing construction projects. We're doing a $90 million project right now and a $40 million. So I'm very well qualified. I'm an engineer, and I think I have good hands-on experience. Thank you.
And you beat the clock. Thank you.
Twice.
Always appreciated. Richard?
Wasn't that the name of a show? I think Beat the Clock. I don't know. Listen, I think we're going to all say the same thing. Without a doubt, COVID has made an impact on all the cities and towns in terms of revenue and what happens to revenue and where do we go from here. I also think, though, we can't overlook the fact that one of the most important components of our county is our agricultural school. And we want to protect that, protect the staff, the students, and the programs we offer there. We want to continue to be excellent. In that regard, I feel I'm more qualified, a little bit more qualified than others, in that I'm an educator. I've been in the classroom. I know what it's like to deal with shortfalls in terms of the budget. I know what it's like to prepare budgets for lesson plans and for students as well. I think that's going to give me an edge in dealing with those issues in the Aggie school. Revenue streams we can produce. Yes, the solar farm is one. We can't stop there. We should be looking at the golf course. We need to examine that as well and maybe perhaps utilize that in a different way. There's other ideas we could explore if we had more than a minute. I'm sure all of us have our own thoughts on that, but certainly we're going to have to roll up our sleeves,
Richard, time's up.
and make it happen.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe?
Thank you. There's no question in my mind that fiscal challenges are the biggest issue facing the county. We've, in collaboration with the County Finance Committee and the Advisory Board, we have dedicated our fiscal year 21 funding to provide $55,000 to hire a company to study and conduct a best practice and operational analysis of the whole county. The first part is going to be develop a multi-year financial forecasting system, establish financial policies, and conduct a financial management review, perform operations and staffing analysis, develop capital planning and processes and procedures, and then conduct a regional services review. This received unanimous approval from the county budget committee and then the full advisory board. Of course, Richard and Charlie are members of the advisory board, so they know what we're speaking. So we're going to hire outside help
Thank you, Mr. Shea. Time's up.
to help us.
Okay. Next question relates to the Norfolk County Agricultural High School. And for those of you who aren't looking at the chat, one of our participants indicated that Wellesley had 3 graduates in 2019, and she is obviously very positive about the Norfolk County Agricultural High School. So the question is, just to describe, and however you want to use the time on this, but your personal professional experience that would make you a good trustee, or your ideas for the Norfolk County Agricultural High School. And first is Charlie.
Thank you. So as I said, I've been on the Norfolk County Advisory Board for the past 16 years. We have the majority of our meetings at the Norfolk County Agricultural High School. It's a beautiful campus. I've toured all the facilities there. We recently did a capital improvements program there where we did the buildings over. It's a wonderful asset to the town. I would call it the jewel of Norfolk County. my experiences, I feel like I have good financial background. I have some great experience in my job that I could go in and just listen to the teachers, the principals, and be a facilitator, help make sure that they have what they need to do the job. I don't see myself going in there and telling them what to do. We have experts that do that. So it's really making sure they have the resources they need to do a good job. And I would do that. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Richard?
Yes, I'll go quick as I can, but it's August. I remember when I was teaching at Canton High, when you turn the calendar and August comes up, immediately you start thinking about going back to school. And as a teacher, you get excited. You do. This year, it's a little different. Many of the teachers across the Commonwealth, they're excited, but they're also worried. They're concerned. They're concerned for safety. There's still plans that are maybe in place, but not quite accepted yet. We see certain unions that are fighting it, and there's a lot of disagreement about how to proceed. So I think, again, going back to what I said earlier, I have a degree in education. I've been in the classroom. Certainly, everyone here has gone to school. And some of you are parents, so you've had students go to school. But nothing beats the experience of being in the trenches. I bring that to the position. I can speak their language and understand it. As we work our way through COVID and the pandemic, we're going to need an educator who can deal with those things and a director who's going to have firsthand knowledge. Not to tell them what to do, but who can relate and fashion solutions that are equitable and fair and safe. That's what I bring to the table on Aggie School. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Richard.
Joe?
Thank you. The Aggie School, which, by the way, has 595 students, is, as Charlie says, the jewel in Norfolk County. It's a $14.8 million budget, and the team there is led by Superintendent Tammy Quinn, Dr. Tammy Quinn, who has been a 31-year employee at the school. We're going through a $3.8 million MSBA renovation program where the State Treasurer's Office is working with us to put a new roof on Kemp Hall, new windows on Kemp Hall, new ADA accessibility, and a new administration building roof, very badly needed. Another priority is to incorporate this solar that we hear about into the curriculum. Not only are we going to receive revenue from solar, we're going to prepare the students for the 21st century by teaching the job market and teaching people about how to install solar and keep up with the newest trends. And we're band together with Bristol Aggie to advocate for changes and allow the school to further flourish in other areas.
Thank you, Mr. Shea.
Okay, Dennis?
Thank you very much. I went to trade school. I went to Blue Hills Regional Vocational School. I do understand that a little bit. I do teach at the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. I do teach a trade class, and I do teach urban guarding also for the inmates at Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. I do understand a lot of the building with the MSBA because we've built 3 schools in my time of being involved and elected in the town of Dedham. And we've also just finished up doing a brand new town hall renovation. And we're going to be tearing a town hall down to build a brand new facility that will be a new police and fire. So I do understand this process very well. I think I can be an asset to helping with that. I do understand how a vocational school works, and I think I can help out there also. Still to this day, I deal with a lot of stuff for the community through Blue Hills that we use to save monies and revenues. So I feel that I'd be a big asset to that. I also was a former small business owner. I owned a small oil company.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Okay, next we'll move to closing statements, and these will be 60 seconds each. And through the rotation, this round begins with Richard.
Great. Well, again, thank you everyone for attending and for listening and being active Democrats. We have some very important choices coming up in all the races, and I think the future of our county is at stake. I submit respectfully and humbly that my education, my experience, and my involvement in my community and in the county has been committed and dedicated, and I will bring my hardworking ability that I got from my parents to this job. There are many other things, like I said, I would like to talk about. I've done some things in terms of regionalization with local fire departments, and I should add that in terms of solar permitting, I did it as a lawyer, one of the largest permits ever east of Mississippi, so I have experience in that as well. Lots of things lie ahead. We have to work well, we have to work together. hopefully I'll be able to work for you, and you'll put me to work, hopefully starting very soon. So thank you again. I appreciate your consideration for your vote this September, and good luck to everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Richard.
Richard.
Joe?
Thank you very much. For the past 5 years as your Norfolk County Commissioner, I've worked to make Norfolk County government better, more efficient, more transparent, and more of value to all the residents throughout the county. For the first time in Norfolk County, we're creating policies to help guide our financial decisions, which I spoke about earlier. Together, we've prioritized regional services and encouraged the professionalism of our administrative policies, all the while continuing to collaborate with all of the local communities. This is the work that I'll keep doing, given the honor of continuing to serve as your county commissioner. I've dedicated my entire life to serving people, providing trusted, proven leadership at every step of the way. Public service, good government, and helping people has been my life's work and passion, especially during my 5 years as county commissioner. I'm Joe Shea. I'm proud of the forward-thinking leadership that I brought to Norfolk County. And as a lifelong Democratic activist and your county commissioner, I respectfully ask for your continued support on Tuesday, September 1st. Vote
Thank you.
Democratic. Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Dennis?
Thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity, and it's tough times, and these are great things to be able to do and have. I ask for your support on September 1st. I feel I can bring a lot to the community of Norfolk County. I will work diligently as your elected commissioner to be more vocal about what the county commissioners do and working with all the towns in the community. So once again, I thank you very much. We have the website. If you need to know any more about me, you can always reach out. It's dennis-guilfoyle.org. And I greatly appreciate one of your 2 votes on the 1st. Thank you so much for having this forum and inviting me.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Charlie?
Thank you. I'd like to thank the town of Wellesley and Needham Democratic Town Committee for having us here tonight. Again, my name is Charles Ryan. I'm a candidate for Norfolk County Commissioner. I've been on the Braintree Town Council for the past 13 years. I was a selectman before that. I have some great civic experience in my town. I think the combination of my engineering degree and my MBA make me well suited to serve in this position. I have extensive experience at the MWRA, managing over a staff of over 200. A lot of the types of trades I manage at the MWRA are employees for the county, maintenance people, engineering people. I supervise those folks. I think we need to focus on the courthouses, the agricultural high school. We need to look at the finances. I've been doing that for the past 16 years as a member of the advisory board. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'd appreciate your consideration. Charles Ryan, candidate for commissioner. Thank you so much, folks. God bless.
Great.
Thank
Well,
you, Joe.
Thank you very much to all of you. I think if anything, you guys have made this harder, at least for me. There's just so much experience and so many different places you come from with so many different talents and skills. So really, really appreciate that. And just a reminder to the people out there, it is 2 people running for 4 seats. So you will have 2 votes. So thanks again. I think we'll move on to the, feel free to stay or leave we won't be offended if you guys leave at this point, or feel free to stay. We'll next move to the treasurer position. The Norfolk County Treasurer is responsible for the custody and management of the funds of the Norfolk County Incorporated County Government, including the departments directly under the county commissioners and the autonomous registry of deeds and Norfolk County Agricultural High School. The treasurer works with the county departments and also works with an advisory board. The treasurer is also the ex officio chair of the board of the Norfolk County Retirement System, or NCRS. NCRS is an independent agency that manages pensions for approximately 40 plus member units, which include 19 towns plus some housing authorities and other special districts. There are about 9,000 active and retiree members, and NCRS has in the ballpark of $1 billion in assets toward long-term funding obligations of $1.5 billion. I'll just mention the towns of Needham and Wellesley are actually not part of the retirement system, but I'm sure my fellow people from Needham and Wellesley would agree that we would still like to see these assets managed well and that it's an important function. This year, there are 2 Democrats running for an open seat. I believe from the Secretary of State's website that no Republicans have qualified, and I don't believe there's an independent. So unless I'm mistaken, I believe this race will effectively be decided on September 1st. The order that was again selected randomly for opening statements will begin with Brad, followed by Michael. So Kathy, this is a 90-second round for opening. And Brad, if you want to, so Brad, you're up.
Thank you very much, Michael and Susan, for putting this evening's forum together. My name is Brad Kroll. I'm a lifelong Democrat and candidate to be your next Norfolk County Treasurer. A little bit about myself. I am married to my beautiful wife, Lori. We have 2 wonderful young children, Patrick and Brian. Professionally, I have spent my entire career in the financial services industry, roughly about 15 years. The first half focusing more on the investment management side. And for the last 7 or 8 years, I have focused on the retirement plan side. So working with 401ks and pension plans. I'm fully licensed. I hold a certified employee benefits specialist designation out of Wharton. In addition, I also have the privilege of serving in my hometown of Quincy as a city councilor for the last 5 terms. But that's not why I'm running. When I think about the Norfolk County Treasurer's Office, I think about an opportunity and an office that has a tremendous amount of potential to positively impact people's lives. We've begun to roll out a new communication plan, which I believe will help establish that baseline of connectivity with that office, as well as the 28 cities and towns throughout Norfolk County. Through that communication, we believe through participation that we can deliver on a 21st century financial literacy program that helps individuals, families, and seniors throughout Norfolk County. Happy to be here. I look forward to answering any questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Michael?
Thank you. Did we lose him?
Yeah, Michael Bellotti, are you on?
Unmute.
Unmute.
Yeah, Michael, I think you're still on mute.
Yep. How's that?
Perfect.
Better.
Okay, good. You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Mike and Kathy, thank you. Sorry about that.
No problem.
And thank you to the Needham and Wellesley Democratic Faculty members. I am a lifelong Democrat, grew up in Quincy, graduate of Boston College with a bachelor's degree in New England School of Law. I am a father of 3 with my wife Gail in Squantum, Massachusetts. And as sheriff, I like to think we transformed that office over the past 18 years. I was Norfolk County Sheriff up until a couple of years ago, and I was a state legislator before that for Quincy and Randolph. In every area that we create initiatives, it helped the municipalities and all the towns and cities greatly. Senior programming, youth programming, reentry. We were recognized for our renowned programs on reentry, very progressive programs. As a sheriff, I made sure that we did everything in terms of partnerships, education, housing, recovering home beds. For the first time in the history of the county, probably the second or third time in the state, we actually bought recovery beds so that offenders, while still in my jurisdiction and our jurisdiction, were able to re-enter society and still deal with their addiction issues and housing issues, at least in the short term. We did it by managing a budget very tightly. I am proud to say I have the endorsement of all 3 unions at the jail. One example I like to see in terms of transforming the office in preparing even for the COVID virus pandemic, without knowing it was coming, obviously, a couple of years ago, as the president of the Mass Sheriff's Association, I instituted and created leadership video conferencing with all the courts in the state and all the sheriff's office. So when the pandemic hit,
Thank you, Michael. Time's up.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'm gonna have 2 questions for the candidates. One will relate to the treasurer's role, and one will relate to the pension role. So the first question is, what are the principal challenges that are facing the treasurer's role in Norfolk County, and why do you believe you're a good candidate for those challenges? And this is a 1 minute each, and we'll start with Michael Bellotti.
So I think the greatest challenge with the treasurer's office is the same challenge that all the county government is facing. It's this COVID crisis, and we know that it's going to be rough waters, and the market's going to be volatile, and that there's going to be a $6 billion deficit on the state level, if and until we get federal help. So we're dealing on 1/12 budgets throughout the state, and that's going to impact all of us. I don't think we've really obviously felt that yet. So I'd like to take my experience working with all the stakeholders, local, state, federal, working with stakeholders, nonprofits, with all the folks, with the towns, and take my skill set that I developed and hopefully manifested in some great results throughout the county the past 18 years and apply that. I mean, that's really why I'm running, because I feel that I have a skill set that's very broad and is able to deal with those issues.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, Kathy.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you. Similarly, I think the largest challenge coming to the county in general, whether it's the treasurer's office or the county as a whole, is going to be the disconnect in revenues. I mean, we've read it, we've seen it, we know it's coming. I would like to think that my professional financial services experience puts me in a unique role or a unique position to hit the ground running in terms of trying to protect the people's pocketbook. Look, at the end of the day, we chatted about the Norfolk County Agricultural School, which is dependent on about $10 million in Chapter 70 funding. My question becomes, what happens if that funding isn't available, and how do we continue to fight to keep teachers in classrooms and keep programs moving? I believe, not only working as a professional in my career, but also having worked through one of the most major market corrections that this country has ever seen in 2008, gives me real-time experience on how to pivot, how to maneuver, and how to, keep county services moving.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Next question. If elected, you would be chair of a board that manages about $1 billion pension fund. Are there things that you would like to do differently from current management? Are there circumstances under which you would consider turning over asset management to a larger pension fund such as PRIM, which is a statewide, for our listeners, a statewide pension fund with $70 billion in assets? I'll start with Brad.
The number one responsibility of the chairperson of a pension fund from a fiduciary standpoint is to do what's in the best interest of the participants. So given the current market environment, I think that all options and dialogues need to be on the table. Look, this is about protecting people's benefits. There's over 11,000 participants that are counting on the Norfolk County Pension Fund to be in existence so that they can retire with dignity. In terms of being open to outside investment counsel, I think that now more than ever we need to lead with both of our ears. And again, I think my professional financial services experience, my accreditations, not only give me an understanding as to how the market works, but gives me an understanding as to how pension funds, what they need to move forward.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Michael?
Thank you. So I have a unique perspective because I worked with a lot of folks over the years, probably hundreds, maybe thousands at the sheriff's office and throughout Norfolk County that depend on the pension system. We know the unfunded liability is about 68%. We know that the board has taken a very aggressive approach to fully funding by 2029. I think the state by statute requires nothing later than 2040 for the other retirement boards. So that issue will be on the table. Who is actually consulting to lead the way? I assume, based on their performance, that right now they've done a professional job. But just like sheriff, I will take a fresh new look. And I want to make sure there's transparency. I'd like to create the first town hall meeting for all the folks in the system, the 11,000 folks, so that they can have questions answered about how and why we're doing things in terms of investments, the value system around that. But most importantly, are we making wise decisions and using the proper best standards and practices? So that's what I would do. I would, just like the sheriff's office, open eyes, bring people together, and make sure that we treat this with great transparency so that the members have confidence.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, great. And then, so we'll have a final 1 minute from each of you to kind of make your closing case. We'll start with you, Mike.
So I think we're lucky to have, honestly, what I consider two good candidates for this office, and we're making some of the same cases and some of some different cases. So I'm going to obviously weigh on why I think, what my case is, and that's that I've been through 2 economic downturns. I've worked with many of the players. I understand how county government works and why it's very important to our constituency. Most importantly, in terms of video conferencing as an example of really taking control of an issue without even understanding there was going to be a COVID crisis. But more importantly, understanding that these are going to be difficult times, and it's a big job, much bigger than people really appreciate at times. And it's the ability to be able to work with the state. There is a political component to this. There is a financial aspect, but there will be political solutions throughout the country surrounding this economic crisis, which is positively coming, regardless of how the markets are acting today. And I've been there, and I've worked on every single level of government.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Brad?
Thank you again to everyone for having me this evening. I'd just like to close by saying I came into this forum this evening and try to lay out some key objectives if given the opportunity to serve, so that you can evaluate my performance. I will just close by saying I do believe that I will approach this office every day with the enthusiasm, integrity, and energy that I feel is needed to transform this office into the 21st century. I shared with you that I have a professional financial services background, and I want to put that to work to members, to all 28 cities and towns throughout Norfolk County. I am committed to fulfilling the entire term, and I just would like to point out to folks, this is a 6-year term. So the individual that we sign up for on September 1st, it's a 6-year commitment. I am fully committed. I respectfully ask for your vote on September 1st, and will close by saying, if you could kindly remember that when you go to the poll, vote for Kroll, Norfolk County Treasurer. Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thanks both Brad and Michael for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll turn to the Register of Probate position. The Register of Probate is effectively the clerk of courts for the probate and family court within Norfolk County. Responsibilities include records and case management, assisting the court's justice in court, and substantial customer service. The probate and family court cases include matters that can be highly personal and emotional, including divorce, custody and related matters, probate and wills, guardianship of adults and of children, and adoptions. These cases can be challenging, and they can involve, more than a lot of other areas, pro se litigants, that is, people acting without attorneys. There are a number of volunteer legal programs designed to work in these areas, but there may not always be enough services to go around. So we have 5 candidates for this position. I believe that no other candidates have qualified in November, so I believe that the race will be effectively decided on September 1st. Again, based on our random drawing, for the opening, the order will be Catherine, Michael, Noel, Courtney, and Colleen, and then like we've done before, we'll kind of rotate the order so that nobody always has to be first or last, or gets to be last or has to be first. So again, it's a 90-second opening, and we'll start with Catherine Hubley.
Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Catherine Hubley, and I'm running for Norfolk County Register of Probate, and I humbly ask for your vote. I'm a mom, a foster parent, teacher, family advocate, an office specialist, and a Quincy School Committee member of 3 terms, last time topping the ticket for my school committee race. I'm a lifelong Democrat, raised in a union household. I grew up in Weymouth, attended the Weymouth Public Schools. I got my associates in early childhood education, my bachelor's in psychology with coursework in domestic violence. I have my Director II certification for the early education, my Director II certification for the Office of Early Education and Care. Currently, I live in Quincy with my husband, Walter, and our 2 kids, Victoria and Nathan, who are both recent graduates, 2020 graduates, my daughter of Leslie University and my son of North Quincy High School. So proud of both of them. The Register of Probate, as we heard, helps families in challenging situations such as divorce, adoption, child custody disputes, bereavement, and I believe my professional and personal experience make me uniquely qualified to serve for this position. I feel the Register of Probate needs to be an empathetic person who really cares and not a politician. My experience is that I've been a volunteer at the Boston Marathon, Pride Day, Porch Fest, and I'm also a parent member of the Parent Advisory Council to Special Education and a member of the Norfolk County Sheriff's Juvenile Substance Abuse and Mental Health Task Force. And I have more time. I thought I must be talking really fast.
You know what? Time's up.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you,
So I
Catherine.
did it right at my time limit. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, next, Michael Walsh.
Thank you. My name is Michael Walsh, and I'm seeking to be the next Register of Probate for Norfolk County's Family Court. As a 33-year trial attorney representing individuals and families, not only in probate and family court, but in all courts in Massachusetts, including federal court. I live in Westwood now, but I was born in Mission Hill, raised in Dorchester, and my wife and I lived in West Roxbury prior to moving to Westwood in 2005. We lived there with our 3 children. I was recently reelected to my 3rd term as a select board member, where I have served since 2013, 2 times as chair. I believe I am the most qualified individual in this race, not only because I'm a practicing attorney, but an elected official as well. The skills, the experience I have from both positions has earned me the endorsement of the past presidents of the Norfolk County Bar Association, the people that use the court the most. This position needs to be a skilled leader, one who understands the legal system, who is able to manage a staff of 24 individuals, work with unions, create and negotiate a budget, and advocate for new initiatives by working with judges and the staff. As an attorney representing individuals and families, I understand how important it is to help people navigate the legal maze. As the next Register of Probate, I will use my legal expertise to improve the services currently being offered to everyone within the courthouse. I've spent my entire career being the voice of those who need assistance, and I will bring this to the residents of Norfolk County with your support and, more importantly, your vote on September 1st. My name is Michael Walsh, and I'm asking for your vote.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Noel?
Good evening. My name is Noel DeBona, and I humbly ask for your vote on September 1st for the Register of Probate. I am currently in my 3rd term and my 5th year as a citywide elected official, as a Quincy City Councilor at Large, representing close to 100,000 residents and managing a budget of $341 million. I was a former school committee member and a chairperson of the Health and Transportation and Safety Subcommittee. I'm a 24-year small business owner, managing and organizing day-to-day operations, customer relations, bookkeeping, and hiring employees. Over the last 4 years, I've been a Norfolk County Sheriff Office employee. In a different couple of roles that I've done over there, I've been working with children as a senior youth coordinator at the Youth Leadership Academy in Braintree, teaching team building, anti-bullying, and positive decision-making. I've also worked with seniors at the 28 towns and cities throughout Norfolk County with scam and fraud preventions at the Councils on Aging. I also work with inmates presently as a reentry coordinator to facilitate access to jobs, housing, and resume building so they can successfully return to our communities. Over the last 15 years, I've been a volunteer youth coach in our community. And also during the COVID-19 pandemic, I did Meals on Wheels for the South Shore Elder Services, a volunteer driver and delivery person for seniors. Listen, my entire life is dedicated to helping others. That's why I'm running for this position. I feel with a strong resume of being an elected official, a small business owner, and then working throughout Norfolk County can help me. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Courtney?
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Michael and Susan and Needham and Wellesley for welcoming us tonight, and a shout out to Kathy who's keeping us honest on the time. My name's Courtney Madden. I am a nonprofit executive, an attorney, and an advocate, and I'm running for Register of Probate. I am running because the Family and Probate Court touches each and every single one of our homes, and if COVID has showed us one thing, it's our homes matter. I bring a fresh perspective as a first-time candidate to this race, but I bring a lot of qualifications and experience that make me the best candidate for the Register of Probate. I have a platform that focuses on 3 major areas: embracing a digital infrastructure, which I have a background of scaling a national digital infrastructure, and talking about accessibility in ways that are real and meaningful, especially with COVID exacerbating areas for improvement that we already need to focus on. And the final piece is the public-private partnerships that the current Register of Probate has really built out over the last 18 years that make the difference between success outside of the courtroom and success in the courtroom. I'm talking about the Lawyer of the Day program, Dove, and 27 other programs. As a nonprofit executive and somebody who has worked in constituent services at every level of government, I understand how critical these are and how to help them manage their budget. I ask for your vote on September 1st.
Thank you, Courtney.
Great, thank you. Colleen?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Colleen Brierly, and I'm running for Register of Probate and Family Court. I am the progressive candidate in this race, and I am the only candidate who has worked her entire professional career over 35 years with families and children before our family court system. First as a mental health worker at Taunton State Hospital, then working directly in the courts as a clerk's assistant, a probation aide. I've been a DSS social worker. I work with kids committed to DYS with the Department of Youth Services, also a foster mother, and I'm the adoptive mom of 3 really cool kids. They're all 12 years old right now. As a lawyer since 1996, I have specialized in children and family law before the probate and family court, as well as the juvenile court. I am the recipient of the Outstanding Legal Services Award from South Middlesex Legal Services for pro bono work. I'm a member of the Norfolk County Bar Association, a member of the Children and Family Law Bar, and I'm certified by the Committee for Public Counsel Services as a children and family law lawyer. I'm also a guardian ad litem and certified by the trial court as a court investigator in both the juvenile courts and the probate courts. I know how the courts work, and I know what brings people to the courts when they're there, and the wide array of emotions that they have. As an attorney who visits children, I represent in foster care and in traveling around juvenile court, I see a discrepancy. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have several questions, and these will be 60-second answers. And we're going to, the order, it'll start with Colleen and then go Catherine, Michael, Noel, Courtney. So first question, for this first question, what are the principal challenges you see currently facing the Register of Probate's office, and how are you in a good position to address those key challenges? Starting with Colleen.
Yes, one of the key challenges that has been an ongoing problem in the probate court is access to the court for everybody. And nobody should be denied legal help from the court. And the probate, the clerk's office should never be the cause of more stress for somebody seeking help from the probate court. Nobody should be denied legal help because of their economic standing, their ability to pay for a high-priced attorney, their race, their sexual affiliation, their immigration status. I've represented many, many indigent clients. So access to everybody to the court needs to be resolved. And there's no room for this to exist in the court at this time. Expanding the Lawyer of the Day program is a top priority for me. The Lawyer of the Day program provides every litigant that comes there who cannot afford a high-priced attorney, and we have many of them in our county. We have very wealthy communities with lots of resources in our county, but we also have just 10
Thank
minutes
you, Colleen.
people that don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Catherine?
Hi. The challenge I feel, I plan on working on issues of accessibility. Not everyone has a car, and not everyone is tech savvy. And just because you have online service doesn't mean you have great online service or have access to it. So I feel there needs to be options for everyone, and I plan on looking into discussing where satellite offices would make more sense, because I know some of our seniors do need in-person, even though online is available. Thank you.
Okay, Michael? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So probably the biggest thing right now that's facing the probate court is making it a completely virtual courthouse. You know, it's about protecting people, whether it's the staff, whether it's individuals coming to the courthouse, the judges. It's a way to make justice easily accessible. And so I have been working with the Register of Probate and its employees to try to make this courthouse completely virtual. So we have spent a lot of time. I mean, the business community is very up to date on, Zoom and everything else, and the legal profession is way behind. So we are trying to educate and be able to get everyone back to the courthouse. And, talking about not everyone has access to a computer, we'll figure that out so that people that don't have access will be able to have access, whether it's on the first floor without having to go up to the courtroom or however it might be. Getting justice and keeping the courts moving is the number one issue. Outside of that, it's going to be a budget issue. Where will the cuts be made? Where does it have to be influenced by someone else? So that's the number one priority at this point in time, is to make it accessible for everyone and to keep everyone safe at the same time.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Noel?
I think the biggest challenge is increased access with also improving the electronic filing to make it a lot more accessible with not coming to the courthouse, whether it be virtually through Zoom. And some folks that don't have the opportunity to have the computer or cell phone or internet access to be able to get this information as satellite locations. I want to expand a Lawyer of the Day as well to multilingual languages. Cantonese, Mandarin, Portuguese, and Spanish are the four major languages also in the Norfolk County area. So I'd like to assure bilingual attorneys, as well as having free Lawyer of the Day to come in and do that. You can do that virtually on Zoom, where we can try that out new. And I'm looking forward to putting these in, new programs into the Probate and Family Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel.
Thank you. Courtney?
Thank you. This is a great question. I would say the most pressing thing facing the Register of Probate right now is the impact of COVID-19. The reality is that the courthouse has needed to pivot quickly to a virtual space, and that is a great response. But to scale that for long term, it really requires, working with stakeholders, thinking about the user experience, as some of my opponents have talked about. The other thing is, the reality of COVID is that we are having a number of unanticipated deaths. Those will need to be dealt with in the courthouse, as well as all of the cases that have been backlogged. The other sad statistic that we're looking at is a rise of domestic violence, and DCF putting out reports that they've seen the starkest decline in child abuse reports, with actually no evidence showing that child abuse has gone down. So as children start to go back to school, as they get around mandatory reporters, we're going to have families that are in a rush to the courthouse really needing services. In terms of how we build out the Lawyer of the Day program, which is essential to keeping the courthouse moving, I have a background in building higher education partnerships, both while working in the state Senate during austerity measures back in 2008 in the Higher Education Commission, and now in my current position as running the largest progressive training program in the country.
Thank you, Courtney.
Great, thank you. I think we've been through the whole cycle on the first question.
Mhm.
This next one, I basically got from, I have connections of people who do Lawyer for a Day type of programs, and a couple of them who work in probate courts in these types of programs suggested this question. What experience do you have dealing with survivors of abuse or domestic violence, and or generally with other marginalized individuals and populations? And we'll start with Courtney.
It's a great question. So in my current day job, I'm executive director, as I said, of the largest progressive training program in the country. I oversee operations in 30 states across the country, including partnerships. We have instituted, and myself, I've instituted an intentional DEI program for all of our leaders, including our management. Our staff goes through it as well. It allows us to have cultural competency and also cultural empathy of what's going on in individuals' lives. My background in terms of working with individuals who are really experiencing some of the most traumatic moments of their life. Starting in high school, I was a volunteer at Dove. I would actually work with children while their parents were receiving services. Throughout my legal career, I worked at rape crisis centers. I've been an escort to individuals. My background is really embedded in working with our community, and my experience has been actually guiding students through the legal process. So in terms of understanding different cultures and how they might approach the court system, as well as those who might be experiencing a traumatic experience, I have a background in both of those. And thank you for asking. It's an important question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
Colleen?
Yes, my experience in working with victims of domestic violence is extensive. I started right out of Stonehill College. I was working as a youth advocate with kids from homes in Brockton, families also involved with DSS. I've been a DSS social worker in Lynn, Massachusetts. I've represented, as a social worker, my job was for managing a caseload of 25 families with a wide array of serious problems and challenges. Right now, as an attorney certified by the Committee for Public Counsel Services here in Massachusetts, I represent many, many victims of domestic violence. I represent women and men as well, and children. My job is to zealously advocate for them, to procure services for them, to find them solutions to the court, to battle with DCF on their behalf, to battle with DMH on their behalf, to attend IEP meetings. Domestic violence is an extremely serious problem that affects all aspects of an individual's life. It is a lifelong challenge for them. And so I have great respect for all the social workers that work in that field. And my job right now to this day is to advocate for people. Many times in a domestic violence situation, the woman is the victim, but the state will come in and take her children because she has remained because of the battered women syndrome. So every year.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Catherine?
So I worked for South Shore Daycare for 9 years, and which I don't know if you're familiar with South Shore Daycare, which is now the STARS program, but dealt primarily with children who were in families who were involved with DCF, and they were on waivers, and that's where they were in school at the daycare. So I worked for them for 9 years with preschool through kindergarten, and as well as being on the Quincy School Committee for the past 3 terms, 8 years. Also dealing with not over 9,000 kids in constituent services for them, dealing with confidential situations that arise, and parents contact me quite often, and I assist them.
Thank you, Kathy.
Michael?
Thank you. So in my 33 years of practicing, I have represented hundreds of individuals for all types of claims. In fact, recently I was representing 2 individuals, 2 separate individuals, of course, who suffered sexual assault at work. It takes a special person to be able to help them and address them at their most fragile time. And they continue to forward my name to other people. And that's because it's a kind of compassion that you get from listening to individuals. I tell people the greatest story. So recently I was at an event, and I had a cross on it. Someone asked me where I got the cross, and I told them, believe it or not, a client gave it to me. She was a victim of sexual assault, and she told me that I was her guardian angel, that God had sent me to help her through the case. It's that type of mentality, that type of compassion that individuals need. At the courthouse, you get all types of different people. In my 33 years, right now, probably my biggest number of cases is to help young kids with autism to be able to get Social Security disability benefits as a disabled adult child. And that's the number one cases that I'm having right now. So I have children all over my office that come in, their parents are trying to get them on Social Security disability. It's important to know and to be able to represent all types of individuals, no matter what their age or their background. So I would say my experience has definitely given me that.
Thank you, Michael.
Noel?
Yes, I've been a youth sports coach for the last 15 years, and 7 years of that time I did youth football for 7th and 8th graders. There was a wide variety of children that were on the team that had issues going on at home. We dealt with it very, very uniquely with different children in different situations. But I also have experience of working with inmates inside the jail at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office, dealing with the other side of the coin, the actual individuals with the domestic violence, the assaults, in same situations with child support. And
I think you just muted yourself.
I think he froze. Yeah, I think he's not listed as mute.
I think he's froze.
Let's see if he comes back in a second. All right. Looks like something froze up in his connect. I'll try to. I'll try to make it fair afterwards. Let's see. So, oh no, are you back?
Somebody muted me.
Yeah, no, I don't know
Okay.
if you can hear me. We're having a little trouble with your connection.
Hello.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Why don't we try to?
We can come back to him.
Yeah. Let's skip to the next one, and then we'll come back and try to give him a little extra time next time. Okay. I guess this next one I had down. It's maybe slightly repetitive, but it's about top priorities for newer expanded programming in the probate court. And let's start with Michael.
I'm sorry, Mike, did you say something?
Yeah. So the next question, final question, is about top priorities for newer expanded programs in the probate court.
So outside, Michael, there are a number of things that can be improved. Obviously, the new virtual way of doing things allows more attorneys to help us with the lawyer of the day because they don't need to drive to the courthouse. They can just turn on their computer and assist other people with breakout rooms, et cetera. It's much easier to be able to increase that. I've already been speaking with the local bus company that does run through the district as a selectman in Westwood. I know that we do have a system that runs through Canton, Dedham, and Westwood to be able to access, people be able to get to the courthouse. It's the number one thing. I brought up the satellite office long before COVID even hit because everyone in all of Norfolk County has to get down to Dedham Street and then to Shawmut Road. And the closest access to that is pretty far away. So we're talking about that. And, for example, Plainville just built a giant public safety building that has a giant conference room that we've been able to use, in fact, for satellite offices. That's just one example. You don't have to do it all the time, but how about another thing? How about we change the hours so that we have one night a week that people can actually come to the courthouse when it's not closed at 5 o'clock because they are working? And how about the number one thing that I would consider to do? How about we have someone answer the phone? No more voicemail. It's a live person to actually answer the phone and say hello and say, how can we help you? Thank you for calling the Norfolk County Register of Probate. How can we help you? That would be some of the priorities that I would put in when elected.
Great.
Thank you, Michael.
Noel, are you back?
Yes. Can you hear me now, Michael?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. So the question was about your top priorities for newer expanded programs in the probate court. And Kathy, why don't we give extra 15 seconds on this too, if you also want to finish up anything on your previous, because you kind of went frozen at one point.
Okay. I was a youth sports coach for the last 15 years, and 7 of those years I youth football coach for 7th and 8th graders, working with the same issues of domestic violence. I also worked on the other side of the coin. I worked inside of the jail as a reentry coordinator, working with the domestic violencees. So child support, alimony, domestic violence, restraining orders, and just, giving them the proper access to jobs, housing, and resume building so they can be successful when they go back to their communities and not reoffend, recidivism. Getting to the next question, what is the question again?
Priorities for newer expanded programming in the probate court.
There's a lot of special programs that I learned at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office that I want to institute with the day-to-day operation and scheduling of the probate and family court. Those initiatives would be protecting our seniors, going out to the councils on agings and the senior centers throughout the Norfolk County, and there's scams and fraud prevention, targeting their wills and assets. I want to have a proactive approach that what I've learned there at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office and bring to the probate and family court as an extra incentive as myself, not bringing on another workforce, but bringing it on as a duty as myself to be a little bit more proactive and have more outreach. I also want to develop partnerships with nonprofit organizations for children, including those with special needs, on programs that we can do collaboratively. So those are 2 extra things that I want to do that I've learned at the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office that I can translate into the probate and family court as your next register of probate. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you,
very
Noel.
much. Courtney?
Thank you. So, I mean, my 3 main priorities are still embracing technology. And by doing that and streamlining the system, you do free up time of current attorneys to donate back to the Lawyer of the Day program. But we still need to build that out, and we still need to continue to bring lawyers into the family and probate practice. How you do that is by bringing in 3rd-year law students and get them certified as 303 certified student attorneys. As long as they have a supervisor, they can represent clients. They are eager and really excited to practice and want to do the best for their clients. So it's a great way of growing out the Lawyer of the Day program. In terms of the current programming that's there, you know, the reality is, guys, we're in the middle of COVID. And so making sure that we don't lose any programs is really step 1, is the short-term plan. The long-term plan is to continue building those out and continue thinking about who's accessing the courthouse and who's not, and how you can bring those services to them. Right now, there's nowhere for kids in that courthouse. So thinking about those who might be entering the doors, how do we make it a more welcoming environment, is really critical for those public-private partnerships. But in the very short term, it's making sure that we can maintain what's there before we grow out what's next. The other last piece is accessibility, and I'm so excited that all of my opponents have started talking about this and how difficult it is to get down to Canton if you don't have a car. It's critical that people, how are you supposed to use the resources that are there if you can't even get to the building? So thinking about really the user experience, bringing in partners to help with that is really going to be.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thanks, Kathy.
Great. Colleen?
Yes, so what we need to have happen at the probate and family court is training for the clerks and the employees that are working there in regard to education on, I believe Mr. DeBona brought up interpreters. So through the Indigent Court Costs Acts, through the state, that service is there. The fact, you know, kids in DCF cases, the majority of those cases are actually heard at the juvenile court. And so this type of education to educate the public even as to where you really need, which courthouse you really need to be in. Systemic racism does exist in our courthouses. I see it all the time. And we need to dive into that head first with training to court employees on how that is affecting the public and people that are approaching the court for help. It trickles right down to when somebody's in a divorce case and there are contempt issues on that case, that I see that all the time. The court cannot always be virtual. We will get through this pandemic. And people have a right to be in court. They have a right to be in court before a judge and to face the respondent needs to be able to face their challenger in court, say in a divorce case. In any case, a child who's 14 needs to be able to contest whether they want to be in a guardianship with somebody. So right now what we need to do is, the courthouse in Canton is very closed spaces.
Thank you, Colleen.
We need to expand that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Catherine?
Although I do believe, like I said before, accessibility is my number one, that I think, yeah, you know, people need to be able to get to the courthouse. They need to be able to get there, and not everyone has a car, and accessibility is a huge factor. Although I do believe in doing your homework and going and talking to people. And in what I have heard is, as Michael said, people need to answer the phone. It's a huge personal thing. People don't want to hear an answering machine when they're calling about a sensitive topic. They want to hear a person. They want some compassion and to hear somebody who really understands what they're talking about and feels something for what they're saying. Also, the other things I have heard, as well as the elder abuse information, really there needs to be elder abuse information, especially for our judges. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. What did I write down? I wrote down a thought and I lost it. Nope, I'm going to end it my ending thought because I don't remember what I was going to say. There was another thought though. Thank you.
Okay,
Right,
thank you,
very much.
Catherine.
So we'll do the final minute for you to make your case however you would like to make it. And this 60-second round, and this starts with Colleen.
Yes, thank you so much for having all of us here. You know, at a time when our president is an agent of chaos, it's been really nice to be on here with all of you and the previous candidates to see so many dedicated Democrats who are working so hard and trying to problem solve for our county and especially for the Norfolk Probate and Family Court. I am the progressive candidate in this case, I'm sorry, I'm thinking cases court, in this race. And you can't judge a candidate by his speech, but you can judge a candidate by their history, their professional history and their personal history. And I have a proven record of working for children and families before the Massachusetts court system for over 35 years. First as a social worker, a mental health worker, a DYS worker, and as an attorney since 1996, I have specialized in children and family law. I see what brings people to the court. I know the needs of the people that are there.
Thank you, Colleen.
I'd ask for your vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Catherine?
I'm committed to serving the families of Norfolk County with integrity, empathy, and compassion to ensure fair and equitable services for all people. Primarily, I want to be elected to help. During COVID, I've spent my time running food drives for interfaith social services, collecting over 800 masks to be distributed to the elderly at the Quincy Housing Authority, Braintree Housing Authority, and at a Westwood senior facility. I've also helped at the Dedham Food Pantry and a pop-up elderly food distribution area in Weymouth. That's me. That's who I am. When elected, I'll be the first woman to hold this position in the Norfolk County Register of Probate since 1954. Thank you so much for your time. And again, my name is Catherine Hubley, and I respectfully ask for your vote. And since I have a second, what I was going to say before is I have heard so many people say that increasing lawyer of the day would be a huge help to so many parents and families. So that would be one. That was the other thing I was going to say. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you. Michael?
Thank you. Again, my name is Michael Walsh, and first let me thank you for being interested enough to join us. Even though many people know little about this job, make no mistake, it's a very important position. You have the opportunity to hear from all the candidates, and hopefully you're clear on the selection for this position. Expertise, knowledge of the court, including the judges, understanding how the register needs to be an experienced individual. Now more than ever, experience matters. COVID is going to affect everything going forward. Budgets, staff, interactions in the courthouse. The members of the Norfolk County Bar and its past presidents have endorsed me because they know that I'm the most qualified candidate for this position. But I've been on both sides of the counter, both as a client and as an attorney, and I know. And as a select board member, I have the experience to deal with these issues. As a practicing attorney representing individuals and families, many times at a time of crisis, I have learned to be their voice and to advocate on their behalf. I will take these skills to make Norfolk County Probate and Family Court a model for the other registries to duplicate. I will not let the people of Norfolk County down. Walsh for Probate is my website. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I am on all of them and I'm using them. So if you'd like to find more about it, please go to any one of those sources to find out about my campaign. My name is Michael Walsh, and I graciously ask for your vote, no matter how you vote on September 1st. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Michael.
Very much. Noel?
Hello, my name is Noel DeBona, and I want to thank everyone for watching tonight. The reason why I'm running is I was a child of the Probate and Family Court, as my parents went through a divorce when I was 12 years old. I know what it feels like to go through that Probate and Family Court. I have 3 young children. They're all in the Quincy Public Schools, and they all have challenges. They all have special needs. I know what it feels like to be inside the house with that as well. I want to help people, help others with the compassionate and empathetic being a leader. My experience of being a Quincy City Councilor at Large for the last 5 years, working with nearly 100,000 residents with constituency services, also working on a body of 9 city council members with different personalities and different ideologies on things. Former school committee member as well with the health and transportation. Also being a small business owner for the last 24 years, being able to manage and operate what is going on at the Probate and Family Court. And then my experience as a 4-year Norfolk County Sheriff's Office working with children, seniors, and inmates makes me a well-rounded person for this job. My website is noeldebona.com. If there's a lot more information on that, please visit that. I also have my Facebook page as well, and you can go to that. September 1st, you can vote by mail, you can vote early, or you can vote on September 1st. And I humbly ask for your vote. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Noel.
Thanks, Noel.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, thank you so much for staying with us tonight. My name is Courtney Madden. I'm asking for your vote on September 1st or early if you're voting by mail or at your town hall. I'm running because this position doesn't end up in your newspaper. It's not a sexy position. It's not in front of the spotlight. It's behind the scenes. It's where I've always been doing the work every day. I've built a career of the last 20 years, weaving in and out of the nonprofit sector and government as a constituent aide, and the last 6 years running a national organization building partnerships across our country. I'm comfortable in a courthouse, and I'm ready to lead a team of 24 because the Register of Probate does not do it alone. I'm asking for your vote because I'm a breath of fresh air. I'm not currently elected. This will be my only focus, is this courthouse and your family. So on September 1st, check Madden. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Courtney.
And I think once again, we have a really good set of people who bring all kinds of different experiences. So I think you've given us a lot to think about. So with that, I think we've come to the end of our forum. Unless there's any other business. All right. Well, thanks to everyone for attending. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time.
Hopefully the recording will work
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay cool.
Have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It was nice to
Bye.
meet everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.